So what would you do about high prices now?
I would drill for more gasoline. I would build more refineries. And if I were in politics, I'd be voted out of office.
Well, in the short run, what would you do? I mean, there are even Republican
Okay.
Now, given your, well, let me ask you about your politics. You talked about the race issue, and what are your politics outside of the race issue? How would you describe your?
Well, I always say that my political bias is that I'm biased against politics. And I haven't been a registered member of any political party since 1972. And I really am quite disenchanted with politics of all sorts.
Why?
Well, I guess mainly just by following what they do and how they do it. That they're really quite clever at things they do, but the things they do really don't benefit the public very much. And that's not just race issues, all issues in general.
What's it? Has this changed over the years since you've been watching this whole thing?
If it's changed, it's been for the worse. I see some hopeful signs. People are trying to talk about limiting the terms of congressmen. I would like to see it limited to one.
Well, they've been talking about it for a long time. This video, if you can see the shadow of the timer, you see the date is June 10th, 1990. So this is how many years in the past? Wow, that's a long time. That's over 30 years, I think. They've been talking about these things for a long time. So some of the talking points that you run into politically today are talking points that they've been talking about for decades now, and they haven't done a thing about them.
One term. In other words, if you're going to allow a member of the House of Representatives, for example, to spend 4 years in Washington, I would rather that they change that to 1 4-year term rather than 2 2-year terms, because the problem is re-election.
Yeah.
And as long as they have to be re-elected and have to raise all that money, then they're going to sell out the public interest to get the money. It's really quite simple.
So what would you do about high prices now?
I would drill for more gasoline. I would build more refineries. And if I were in politics, I'd be voted out of office.
Well, in the short run, what would you do? I mean, there are even Republican
Okay, so which politician in the last few years has been big on drilling for oil and has been attacked so much that people want to get him out of office? Let me know in the comment section if you know that answer.
governors and Republican politicians who are saying we have to put a lid on the price.
Well, I've often said that Democrats are the only reason to vote for Republicans.
Oh my goodness.
You know, for example, an industry like the sugar industry can contribute money to Congress, and Congress will appropriate enough money for the sugar industry subsidies to pay them back $1,000 on every dollar. Now, you can't get that kind of return on your investment many places. And so there's no sign that they're going to stop doing that. That either they're going to stop offering the money or the Congress is going to stop giving the money.
Tom Sowell, I discovered him a few years ago. Amazing, amazing mind. I don't agree with his position of not, I don't know if he says he hasn't joined a political party, and I don't know if that also means that he doesn't vote. So I can't say whether I agree or not with his position about what he said, because I don't have the specifics. But what I would like to say is that everyone with common sense should vote. Look at the two candidates, and what I always say is pick the candidate whose values are closer to the teachings of the Bible. Now, you might be watching and you don't see yourself as a Christian, or you don't see yourself as a practicing Christian. But let me just say this to you. In all honesty, look at all of the countries in the world and identify the countries that are doing better than everyone else. I don't mean that they are perfect, but they are doing better than everyone else. One thing tends to stand out, and that is that they tend to be countries that were founded by people with a very deep Christian worldview. And they baked in that Christian worldview in their jurisprudence, that's their laws, and in the way they conducted daily life, and in their expectations towards their politicians. The things they frowned upon, the things they insisted on, those are the countries that held Christian values very highly. I know that's not said properly, but I'll just say it that way. They held Christian values in high esteem. So you can't separate the success of Western civilization from the Christian faith and ethos. That is a fact. Any country that has separated itself from the Christian ethos eventually destroys itself. Look at France. They did that to themselves. They were a world power at one time, and then they said God is dead. And then what happened after that? They went into a steep decline that they've not recovered from. They only exist as a European country, which gives them access to certain relationships with their neighbors. But when you look at them and compare them with other Western countries, I don't think that they are as strong as certain other Western countries. Let me know what you think of my take on these clips. What do you think of his statements? What do you think of some of the allusions he's made towards politicians and special interests and lobbying? Put them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Doing that strengthens our channel. It shows your support for our channel, and it's very encouraging. It's always helpful when we see the support that you give by your subscriptions and sharing the content to your family and friends and everyone you know.
God bless this man.
Why Chinese Americans support Trump? All right. So the reason is the Democrat administration, Biden administration, lead this country towards socialism and eventually towards communist dictatorship. We came from China. We know this is the way. This is not like people here don't understand what is a communist is. We know communist is, what a communist is. That's why we support Trump.
As immigrants, a lot of people might say that Trump is anti-immigrants, or
Trump is not anti-immigrant. It's just against illegal immigrants. It must be lawfully.
This means a lot coming from a Chinese citizen. Trump 2024.